Dear students, this module is on the functioning of the linen room. In this, we are going to discuss about the linen layout, linen storage and its control method. Have you heard the word linen? Yes, the word linen is only the fiber which applies to the fabric. Linen in this context means a launderable articles, but the linen staff may also handle a blankets, curtains and the loose covers as well as the article for dry cleaning. Linen in a technical sense is the stem fiber extracted from the cultivated plant called flax, which is spun into the yarn and are woven into a fabric. However, in a commercial sense, the present day usage of the term linen includes all fabrics that are used in the hospitality industry. A well laid out and stocked up linen room satisfies the needs of the guest with comfortable and pleasing room furnishings. The second largest expenses of the housekeeping department is from the linen room. The linen room is the central depot for all linen in good condition are distributed throughout the hotel. Even the small establishment, many hundreds of articles are necessary for bedrooms alone. Linen is expensive to replace, and if it is properly laundered and neatly stored, the life of the linen can be extended. When these aspects are taken into consideration by a linen keeper who is under the supervision of the housekeeper, he or she has a greater responsibility for the control of this stock. There will be establishment where a great deal of linen is handled, for example, in a hotel or in a hospital where there is a much banqueting and daily resheeting. The linen keeper works with several assistants. In a small establishment where these linen is handled, the work may be done by general assistant or linen maid who may even be a part-time worker. The linen keeper or a person in charge of the linen room is responsible for issue of all linen, sorting and dispatch of the soiled linen to the laundry, the checking on its return for general standard, and could keep the record books accurately and efficiently. Let us look into the linen layout, linen storage and its control methods in detail. After going through this module, you will be able to understand the organization of the linen room, to describe the activities of the linen room, describe the exchange of the linen procedure, explain the bar stock and the linen control for a hotel operation. It is quite interesting to know about how linen room work. Inevitably, there are variations in the work of the linen room in the different types of establishment, but many points to be considered generally. Linen room works from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. in a large hotels, but in other cases there may be a set of time, possibly twice a day. Always linen room should work or open 7 days a week. Now let us look into the next aspect on organization of a linen room. In a hotel establishment, there are two types of linen room. One is a centralized linen room. Second one is the decentralized linen room. First, I am going to explain on centralized linen room. Here, linen from all floors are collected and stored in a central area. The linen room supervisor have a complete control over the linen room. All types of linens are issued along with the receipts. The second one is the decentralized room. This system works well in the hotels that have a large number of floors and also operate in the resorts where the rooms are separate out across a large area. Each floor maintains its own bar stock of linen. As and when necessity arises, they are well reembellished from the main linen room. The linen bar is stored in the floor pantries and floor supervisors are responsible for maintaining a bar stock. The next important concept in the linen room is activities. In this slide, you can see how the activities of the linen room is carried out efficiently by the linen keeper or by the linen supervisor. In charge person collect soiled linen, count and sort it and dispatch to the laundry. He or she gets the receipt from the fresh linen from the laundry. Again, the linen keeper or the supervisor check and sort of the fresh linen and store the fresh linen in appropriate rack. Whenever he receives the requisition, he distributes the fresh linen to the floors and other areas. Periodically, stock taking have to be carried out and records have to be maintained by the in-charge person. Other activities of the linen room is a staff room storage and issues the concern to the department. The linen keeper or a supervisor can discard the unusable linen with due intimation to the higher authorities. In this slide, you can see the storage procedure of the fresh linen. While in the storage area, the linen must be kept free from dust. Therefore, all the fresh linen should be stored under cover. The linen may be covered by curtain drawn across the shelves or may be stored in the cupboards with slotted sliding doors. Articles that are not in frequent use, such as mattress protectors, curtains and blankets, may be covered with a dust sheet. The linen stock should be rotated in order to first in and first out basis. Whenever the fresh linen are placed on the shelves, especially the heavier ones, it should be ensured that the fold face outwards. Also, the heavier linen should be placed on the lower shelves. Smaller articles such as face towels and serviettes are placed in the bundles of 10. Now I am going to tell in detail about the linen exchange procedure. Usually, the procedures followed for linen when it is given or distributed to the guest room and to the food and beverage areas. There are the fresh for solid or 1 and 1. For linen room exchange procedure, next one is on restaurant linen exchange procedure. The first one that I have told is on fresh for solid, soiled or 1 for 1. This is a simple method of linen exchange. Fresh linen is provided or distributed only in an equivalent soiled article is given back. The advantage in this method is no record format is maintained. Usually, uniforms are exchanged according to this method. Even though the fresh for soiled is the simplest exchange, in case of large number of linen, it will take more time on account of the counting of both fresh and soiled and fetching the request amount of the fresh linen. The second activities in the linen room is the room linen exchange procedure. In a hotel with an on-premises laundry, soiled linen may be received directly from the laundry or may be sent via to the linen room laundry. The floor supervisor counts all the soiled linen from the floors and enters the counts into the linen room control from forms. Here you can see a different columns. First one is the linen articles like sheets, night spreads, pillow slips. Next column in the number of the soiled linen sent from the floors, the number of soiled linen received from the floors from the linen room, the number of fresh linen issued to the floors, and in the last column is the balance have to be indicated. Once the in-charge person fill the form, it have to be signed by the floor supervisor and by the linen room supervisor. This form is prepared in duplicate and sent along with the soiled linen to the linen room. In case of soiled linen goes directly to the laundry linen exchange have to be filled. In this form, the linen items balance brought forward, soiled linen, then the total. The fresh linen, rewashed linen and the balance carried out forward like a room linen control form. This form should be signed by the floor supervisor and by the laundry supervisor. The linen room supervisor, the laundry supervisor again counts up the soiled linen and stamps received on this form. One copy of the form is written to the floor. The second and third copy are filled and the linen form and the laundry respectively. Now, The linen room supervisor issues the fresh linen on 1-on-1 basis, filling out the linen exchange form as shown here. In this form, you can notice that the data and the time have to be indicated that when the linen had received from the floor. There are different columns where the linen items, soil linen received, fresh linen issued, balance, and any remarks have to be noted again. This form should also be signed by the floor supervisor and the linen supervisor. If there is any shortage of fresh linen in the linen room, the supervisor enters the balance amount and issues them with the next slot. This form is countersigned by the floor supervisor and maintained in the linen room. The third procedure adapted in the linen room exchange procedure is the restaurant linen exchange procedure. And food and beverage employee brings the soil linen to the linen room. The linen room staff checks the soil linen received. All items are counted and verified with a count in the F&B linen exchange form. The count is entered in the linen exchange register for F&B, which is like to be. Can you think some of the linen used in the F&B department? Yes, it is a tablecloth, frills, napkin. So these linens can be noted with examples. Next column is the bar stock, soil linen, fresh linen, and if there is any differences, it have to be rectified then and there. This register have to be signed by the restaurant staff, the linen room supervisor, and captain in charge. In this form, the time and date have to be indicated. The fresh linen is issued and details are also entered in the linen exchange register. The fourth procedure in the linen room activity is efficiency in the linen room. Launderable linens is required throughout the establishment, and thus the linen room is essential and important place. Therefore, much thought should be given to this situation and planning in order to work of these issues. Collection, storage, and upkeep of the articles can go as smoothly as possible. Ideally, the linen room should be situated with a direct and easy access for loading and unloading of linen baskets to and from the laundry and for the distribution of linen throughout the establishment. The soil linens on arrival sorted into bins, and to prevent any confusion between the soiled and linen baskets, the laundry drivers delivers the clean ones and pick up the soiled one. The most important concept in the linen room procedure is a bar stock. This refers to the amount of each type of linen required to make up all the guest rooms of the hotel at a given time and minimum quantity of the linen that must be on hand at any time. The bar stock quantity of the linen is also referred as a house setup. A number of factors on which the bar stock depends are the laundry cycle, occupancy level and usage, replacement and emergency stock. Thus, a bar number has to be set up to maintain a bar stock of linen. Now we are going to see what is bar number. The bar number is a multiple of 1 bar or set up quantity required to support daily functioning of the housekeeping department. Thus, 2 bars of the linen comprises the total number of each type of linen needed to outfit all guest room twice. If the same way 3 bars of linen is the total number of each type of linen needed to outfit all guest room 3 times and so on. In a deluxe hotel, the bar number is kept 4 to 5 times setup. In a hotels where the soil linen is washed on the same day, there are stripped way 3.5 bars of linens can be maintained. In case of contract laundries, 6 bars of linen have to be maintained. Next, I am going to discuss in detail about the linen control. Linen control will be carried out in different phases. The first one is on routine checking of the linen. Next one is on quantity control of the daily flow of linen stock or linen exchange procedure. Next one is on physical inventory linen or stock taking. The last one is proper documentation of a linen. Do you know how a routine checking of a linen is carried out in a housekeeping department? Yes, the executive housekeeper must emphasize the inspection of the fresh and the soiled linen, not only by the linen room staff but also by the other staff handling linen. Stringent checking should be carried out by the linen staff. In OPL method, the functioning of inspecting the linen may be carried out by a laundry staff. However, when the laundry is contracted out, the responsible falls on hands of the linen room staff. Spot checking of the linen should be carried out by the supervisor in the areas where the linen must be left behind, such as a service room, staff changing rooms, and so on. If the inspection of all articles are carried out thoroughly, a high standard of linen control is maintained and the enhance of the guest finding a torn or stained article is minimal. And the next aspect is quality control of daily flow of linen stock or linen exchange procedure. This is a quantity control of a linen sent from the floors and the department of the linen room for a dispatch to the laundry. To maintain an initial record of the bar stock of the linen in each department and on each floor, and also any subsequent increases in the quantity of the linen. An intent copy is shown here have to be maintained by the floor supervisor or by the department in charge. The original copy of the intent is given to the linen room while the duplicate remains on the floor. If extra linen items issued to the floor or to the department as per the intent are returned, the signature of the linen room supervisor is to be maintained on the duplicate copy. This ensures that the extra linen items that are not required daily on the floor or in the department are returned and are no longer the responsibility of the floor or the department in question. The linen room entry books contains a daily records of the soiled linen brought to the linen room from the various floors and the department, as well as the amount of soiled linen sent to the laundry. It is signed and maintained by the linen room supervisor. Third mode is to control by a physical inventory or by stock taking. Stock taking of linen is a physical verification by counting of the stock of all linen items at all points in the cycle. It is carried out at a periodic interval or at the times of closing of books for evaluation purpose. Accurate recording of entries is important during stock taking so that the coverage and the storage can be determined from the differences between the physical count of the balance and the balance appearing in this count inventory ledger. The physical counting is done after every month and is known as a quarterly inventory. First, all items including discards are segregated and grouped. Then items in the circulation and items kept in the store are counted by separately and totals are added together. The discards are stamped and condemned and kept aside. Now the counted total should tally the last inventory figure plus the issued item received. Only in the presence of housekeeper inventory, stock taking or stock checking has to be conducted. Last aspect is to maintain a proper documentation of the linen room. The master inventory control sheet helps the executive housekeeper to analyze the result of the physical inventory. By subtracting the counted total for each linen articles from the quantity of corresponding item, the executive housekeeper can actually determine the number lost. Linen loss is the differences from the total amount obtained during the previous inventory. While the physical inventories reveal the losses for linen items, they do not show why these occurs. If the differences between the expected and actual quantities is higher, further investigation has to be carried out. After each physical inventory, the executive housekeeper should make sure that the bar levels are brought back to the level originally established for each linen items. Bar numbers for each linen types are recorded. These figures represents the standard number for each linen type that should always be maintained in the inventory. By subtracting the actual quantities for each linen, the type on hand, from the corresponding bar levels, the executive housekeeper can determine the quantities of each linen type that are needed to bring the inventories back to the bar. By subtracting the quantities of the linen that are on order but not yet received, the executive housekeeper knows previously how many of each linen type still needs to be ordered, replenish the bar stock. As a result, the physical verification, executive housekeeper can determine the amount of linen needed to replace the lost stock and maintain the established bar level. The completed master inventory control sheet must be submitted along with the linen discard record to the linen manager. Now the linen manager will then verify an initial report before transferring into the accounts department. Now the account departments will provide the executive housekeeper with cost information related to the usage, loss and the expense per occupied room. This information is useful in determining and monitoring the housekeeping budget. Next concept is on linen lifespan. The lifespan of the linen is measured in terms of how many items it can be laundered before becoming too old or to be suitable for guest room use. Durability, laundry consideration and purchase price are the main criteria that an executive housekeeper has to bear in mind while selecting a linen. The housekeeper needs to calculate the cost per use in order to evaluate the alternative linen purchase using this formula. The cost per price is equal to purchase cost plus lifespan laundering cost divided by the number of lifespan laundering. The expected useful life of the linen is often more important than the purchase price in determining whether alternative products are economically or not. The cost of the laundering linen over their useful life is usually much greater and therefore more important than the initial price. So far we had been discussing about the linen room procedure and the linen control. When these aspects are carried out very efficiently, the linen keeper or the linen supervisor know how to discard and reuse the linen. Some of the tips or the points to be considered are: condemned linen are the items that are no longer useful in their present condition due to some irreversible damage. Cutting down refers to the using of any discarded material for some purpose. Turning the discard into racks is one of the simplest and most common ways of recycling. The large discarded sheet can be used as a crib sheets, aprons and any other articles. On some properties, discarded linen are sold to the hotel staff at a reasonable prices. Some properties also donated to the linen to the charities. Whatever to be the norm, all discarded should be counted for and properly recorded. To summarize this module, In this lesson, we had looked into the various aspects of the linen room, planning, layout, location and activities. We further learnt about the inventory maintenance and its functioning. Also in this lesson, we have dealt in details about the supply of various linen items to the guest rooms, their retrieval after usage. You have also learnt about the responsibility of the linen room in the operational logistic relating to the management discussion, whether to invest to to buy own linen materials or to rent it outside from the hiring agencies.